the Ramayana story in very quick is a family of a monarch who was almost 60,000 years old, and in those ages people lived longer, whatever. He was 60,000 years old. He had married 353 queens in the hope of getting a son to whom he can bequeath the kingdom. Because for kings, it's a very important thing to have the heir, an heir to give the kingdom to. But even after 353 wives and all of that, no son. Parallelly, at that time, there was this great demon by the name Ravana, who was the universal terrorist. So he was the Osama bin Laden of their time. And the guy was just such a debauchee. Was very powerful. And he had this thing that whatever he liked, he felt it was his right to take it away. And he had a penchant for women. So he would go and abduct, rape, and kidnap women that he liked. It didn't matter whether they liked him or not. But he had that power, and no one could question him, check him. So all the beings in this world, including all the demigods in the upper world, were completely tormented by him. So they went and prayed to Lord Vishnu, who is the maintainer of this universe, that please do something. They appealed. They filed a petition. And Ravana had this blessing because he was a yogi type person who by his meditation and all that had blessings from Lord Brahma. And so Lord Brahma said, whatever blessing you want, you tell me. And he said, I want to be immortal. Lord Brahma said, even I'm not immortal. So I can't give you what I don't have. Ask for anything else. So Ravana said, all right, let me not be killed by anybody in this universe, whether they are, wherever they might be, there be any powerful being anywhere in the universe, let me not be killed by them. And he gave a list of all the beings that he should not be killed by. And he did not include human beings in that list and animals. And the reason he didn't include is like, what will human beings do to me? It's a waste asking about human. So he had not said anything about humans. So when the great demigods went to Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, he said, I will appear as a human being. That will be my avatar. I will come as a human being. I will look very human. I'll behave human. I will live a human-like life. And I will take care of Ravana. Ravana thinks that he's not challenged by human beings. And all of you somehow appear in the species of simians or monkeys, and the varieties of gorillas and apes and monkeys. Because who gives any credence to monkeys? We just like a monkey, which was very diminutive. So that's how Lord Ram appeared in the family of Dasharatha. And he comes, whenever the Lord advents, he comes with his retinue. For example, we are used to seeing, let's say, the presidential motorcade. He or she never travels alone. There's usually a whole cavalcade, motorcade, and so the things, people come before, they set things up, and there's a whole array of people that come along. Right? So similarly, if a leader of a country comes like that, then what to speak of the leader of creation? So he comes with three other brothers, named Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrugna. If you read in the Ramayana. And then Lord Ram lived, and so Dasharath was very happy. Finally, he got 4 sons. But then the story is that it's because it's a human family, then there are all the politics of a human family. That time came when Dasharath decided I want to coronate Ram as their prince regent of the kingdom. But one of his other wives, the mother of Bharata, she didn't like this idea because I'm abridging the story. But she didn't like this. And she had remembered that way back when Dasharatha had made two promises to her that you can encash this promise anytime you want. No questions asked and no resistance to it. And she found the night before the coronation. So tomorrow morning, Ram will be the prince regent. Tonight, she told Dasharatha, by the way, darling, you gave me two promises, and this is the time for it. Oh, ask anything you want, my dear queen. Today I'm very happy. It's the happiest day of my life. Ask for it. He said, my son Bharata should get on that throne. It was like a thunderbolt on his heart. What? As if that were not enough. She said, and Ram should go to the forest for 14 years, leaving everything, abdicating the throne, and just go to the forest for 14 years. The idea for 14 was the forest is a very dangerous place. He may not even come back. And 14 years is enough time that Bharata can establish himself as the wonderful best king that people wouldn't care for Ram. And during that time, banishment, 14 years means that you are pretty much nobody anymore. Interestingly, Lord Ram was very happy that he was going to be the prince, and he was happier that he was going to the palace. So I'm going to pause here and sort of give a skeletal view of what's happening. You see the body and we see the skeleton. We call it the bare bones. The bare bones view is this. We all sometime in our lives must have gone to see a play or a drama on a stage. Right? There are actors and they play certain characters. And when we see on stage certain, whatever the storyline is, it connects with us. Certain aspects connect with us. Certain people, certain characters connect with us. Certain emotions that they are expressing connect with us, and we relate with what's happening in our life. Yeah? Similarly, this entire episode of Lord Ram's appearing is nothing but my story, your story, her story, each one of our stories. The specifics might be different, that we may not have a stepmother who kicked us out of the house, or forget all of that. But the bare bones of it is the story of every living being. In Sanskrit, we are called Jiva. Jiva means alive. We are alive. This body is a dress that is on this soul. I am the soul. Generally, when I'm in a university environment, I ask the students, agree or disagree with what I'm about to say. We are human beings and we can have a spiritual experience. Agree or disagree? Agree. How about this statement? This statement. We are spiritual beings and we can have a human experience. That is the reality. We are all spiritual beings. We are right now wearing this dress called human being. Previously, we might have worn a dress called an animal, or a bird, or an insect, or a fish, or some aquatic, or an insect, whatever it is. And tomorrow, meaning next time, we might put on a different set of clothes. Today I'm wearing this. Earlier I was wearing pants. Tomorrow I'll be wearing a t-shirt. I don't change, my dress changes. Similarly, I am the Jiva, the living being, and I put on different dress. Right now I'm wearing this dress called human being. Right? And so this human being, because I am a living entity, I am conscious, and there's one thing that I'm always doing. What is it? What is every human being, in fact, for that matter, every creature in creation is doing one thing.
Breathing.
Breathing. Breathing is a symptom of being alive. Breathing to do
Trying
what?
to be happy.
We're all looking to be happy. Is there anyone who's looking to be sad? Is there a person searching for misery? Because you don't have to. It's coming anyway. Whether you like it or not. That's hard. But we are all searching for joy, for happiness. Because it is our innate nature. In Sanskrit, we call it Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Sat means we're alive, we're existing. I am alive. I know that I'm alive. Chit means I have some sense of cognition. I'm aware. And then Ananda is that I am always looking for happiness. So you look at a tree, you put a little, you cut off the trunk of the tree, and somewhere a little shoot will show up. Because it has the innate is a soul that wants to express that it's alive. We're all looking for being happy. And we're searching for happiness in different places, in different things, in different activities. Right? And so that happiness is when we are in union with or in connection with the supreme living being, Lord Ram, Lord Krishna, or God, if you want to say generally. That connection is called yoga in Sanskrit. To connect is called yoga. To disconnect is called ayoga, or breaking of it. So the question is, what breaks it? We are innately, by nature, to be in communion with, I'm using words communion is more like a Catholic Christian, but it's just sort of something we might be more familiar with. But our innate nature is to be in contact with, in relationship with God. And then that relationship gets broken from our side. Because once we are in the human body, we have been, in one sense, abducted by the mind and the senses that we have. So with our senses, we actually do senseless things. The five senses are the eyes, the nose, the tongue, the ears, and the skin. And then there are five what we call working senses: the hand, the legs, the genitals, the anus. And so they all combine together as 10. And the leader of it is the mind. And the mind is full of desires and wants. Right? And these desires tell us, yeah, you should be happy. And I know how to make you happy. And the mind, by nature, tells us that happiness exists in things that we can touch, smell, hear, etc. Because we are in this dress. The jurisdiction of the mind is within this realm of senses. Okay? So, Sita, who was kidnapped by Ravana, represents each one of us, the living being who's been abducted by Ravana, the mind, who has 10 heads, which are the 10 senses, constantly harassing us and separated us from Lord Ram. And as the story goes, let's go back to that story. Lord Ram came to the forest, and for 13 years, they had a wonderful life. Lord Ram, his brother Lakshmana, and Sita, his wife, they had come to the forest. Out of the blue, there was a little skirmish, something about territory, and Ravana came in, sent a decoy of one of his uncles to dress up like a deer that had golden spots on it. It was sparkling. And Sita said, "Oh, I like that deer. I want that as a pet." And Rama and Lakshmana said, "No, that may be just a demon who's disguised just to entice you." And she said, "No, I want it." She sent Ram in pursuit of it. And that deer went away, and Rama was pursuing it. Then Lakshmana was with Sita to guard her. She told us that deer was shot by Lord Ram because he knew it was a demon. But that demon, while he was dying, in the voice of Ram, loudly shouted, Lakshmana, Sita! And she heard it and she said, your brother is in trouble. And Lakshmana said, no, nothing can happen to Ram. It's someone else's voice. No, it is Ram. And there's a whole dialogue there, but she sent him away. So he went in pursuit of Ram. At that time, Ravana came disguised as a person that is very easily trusted. And then he kidnapped her and took her to a place called Lanka, which is an island in the middle of an ocean, and kept her there in captivity. And Lord Ram and Lakshmana was searching and searching, and they couldn't find her. Then slowly, bits by bits, they got some indications. Someone said, oh, she may know. They went there. She said, oh, he may know. They went there. And searching, they came to a place called Kishkinda, where they made friends with monkeys. And the monkey king said, oh, I've been kicked out of my kingdom by my older brother. So Ram and Sugriva made friendship, and Ram said, all right, I'll help you get your kingdom. And Sugriva said, I'll help you find your wife. I have a lot of monkeys under my care. We'll send them in all directions. So some monkeys were sent to the east, some to the north, some to the west, and some were sent to the south. In the ones that went to the south, there was one wonderful monkey called Hanuman. And those of us from India, we all know Hanuman, the monkey god. And he jumped across the ocean, went to this island called Lanka, found Sita, talked to her, gave her the message of Lord Ram, came back, gave Ram the message of Sita that she's alive, I'd met her, and now she's waiting for you. Then Ram said, how can I cross the ocean? So they built a bridge of stones. And they all crossed. Then they fought with Ravana's demons. They killed Ravana, and they brought Sita back. That's pretty much the story of Ramayana up until this point. Now I'm going to stitch the bare bones pieces back. Each one of us is Sita, represented by Sita, not that we are Sita. We're represented by Sita. Remember, the stage play, right? So what Rama and Sita and Lakshmana, who are avatars, come here to do is they put on the story of our life. And our life story is that each one of us has been enticed by our minds, the Ravanas, and captured in the body called Lanka, which is within this realm of material existence. It's an island. And Hanuman, as the messenger, represents all lines of what we call gurus or teachers. They carry the message of Lord Ram to remind us that he's waiting for you. He wants to come take you back. The reason Sita got abducted is the question has been asked by poets and philosophers over thousands of years. When Sita and Ram were sitting together, why was she attracted by the deer? If you have a relationship with God, why would you want anything else? And so that's the primordial issue, that my attention, instead of being with Ram, has gone to something that is dazzling. It's material. It's an aphorism, it's just a glitter that I'm attracted by, something material. That which is not. In Sanskrit, it's called Maya. You've heard these words, Maya. Ma means not. Ya means she who's not. It's the energy, the dazzling, attractive energy that pulls us towards thinking that there is happiness, not here. And that's the time when Ravana enters the scene. Our mind captures us, kidnaps us. So we need, I'm using the word we, but living beings, human beings, need the intervention of Guru, who removes by the proper message, reorients us back from being attracted to this glittering Maya back to Lord Ramachandra. Lord Ramachandra has to come and bring us back. And the celebration of they uniting, Ram and Sita uniting, or the celebration of we uniting back with Lord Ram or Lord Krishna is celebrated as Diwali. It is why the entire Ayodhya celebrated them coming back. And they celebrated by decorating the entire kingdom with flowers and festoons and music and dances and lamps. So it's our story that gives us hope, that tells us that the messages, because some of you are participating in the Saturday program, we're reading the message of the great teachers who've come in tradition. What are they doing? They're reminding us that our happiness, our joy, our original relationship is somewhere else. We've been looking perhaps in all other directions except the right direction, maybe. Maybe we are looking in the right direction, we just don't know how to make that connection. So that is Diwali in that sense. More, when we light a lamp, by nature of that lamp, it removes darkness. And so philosophically, absence of this awareness that we are actually belonging to the Lord is considered a sense of darkness. It's called ignorance or avidya. And one needs the lamp of knowledge, because there is one thing. When there is darkness, what is a common emotion anyone has in darkness? Fear. Exactly. Fear. Because fear is you don't know where to put your next step. You don't know what's going to happen. You can't see anything. You may just be groping in the dark. But as soon as light is turned on, fear goes away. Right? So similarly, when the lamp of knowledge is lit in our heart, fear goes away. Fear is an emotion that is there in all living beings, animals as well. You've seen a bird constantly looking, any animal, even deer. So they say each animal in nature is meant to teach us something. Like a deer. A deer has these ears always moving because it's trying to look for sound. And the hunter's greatest trap for a deer is they sound a whistle, like we hear, or they play music or some noises that they make, and the deer just gets, like I said, deer caught in the headlight. Just stand still. That's a perfect target for the hunter. So it's the ears of the deer. You know how they capture elephants? They get a rogue elephant, they want to capture it. They send a she elephant. She goes and rubs against him. And that rub is so enticing for that elephant that he just blindly follows her. And they dig a nice trench, cover it with grass, and the elephant wants more of the rubbing from the she elephant, that he falls right into that trap. And a great elephant, they tie his leg to a peg. Actually, they tie with a chain. And the elephant for days keeps trying to tug on it. And it won't come off. And then at some point, it decides there's no use trying. And it gives up. That's when they take a simple rope, tie to his leg, and put to a small peg. And the elephant has decided it's not going to work. It gets conditioned to thinking that I cannot escape. So for the elephant, it's the touch. A bee always is hungry for honey. It goes from one flower to another, one flower to another. And a bee dies by being trapped inside a lotus. Because the lotus opens during the day. As soon as the sun sets, the lotus closes. As the lotus is closing, the bee is like, a little bit more, one more sip. I don't want to go, just one more, little bit more, and then I'll fly away. And before he decides how much is enough, he's trapped. He suffocates and he dies. So it's the taste, the tongue for the bee. Sometimes the example is of a fish. The best way to fish is you put a worm, and the guy sees the worm, but didn't see the hook. Because the worm is to the hook. As soon as he opens his mouth, the hook goes right through his jaw or palate. So like that, the eyes, the moth looks at a flame and says, I want to be there, and flies right into the flame and kills itself. So these senses, the point is that these senses are, at least philosophically speaking, our Vedas say that these senses are nothing but a quick path towards death, or towards self-harm, that or acting against our own best interest. Now, the human being is a deer, a bee, an elephant, a moth, all of that combined, because all five senses are super active. So we have, the moth has one pathway to destruction. The human being has five. And so for the human being, there is the need for intervention by proper knowledge, the lamp of knowledge. So Diwali is to recognize, to commemorate, and to express gratitude. Actually, whether it is Govardhan, Diwali, whatever we're doing, even the song we sang here, which I'm going to transition to, the baseline operative emotion is love. Love between us and the Supreme. And it is to establish that love, to rejoice in, to celebrate when someone else has it. And we say, oh, that's amazing. Like in this song, we sing the glory of the love Krishna's mother has with Krishna. Now, how does God have mother? By definition, God means the source of everything and everyone. How does God have mother? Then by definition, he can't be God. But remember, because we are all looking for happiness and pleasure, and the real pleasure or joy is in relationship, the Supreme also has unlimited relationships with all of us. And in part of enjoying that, he manifests that he loves to be and experience parental affection. He loves to have filial friends and brothers, and that kind of affection. He's also the master, so he has a relationship of a master and a servant. He also is a lover, so he has what we say conjugal relationships. Why not? He can have all sorts of relationships. In our own life, we have, right? Although ours is a reflection. The language we're used to reading Prabhupada's books is perverted reflection. We mimic exactly the activities of God. We have conjugal relationships. I should say relationship, not plural. We have friends. We're parental. We're masters. We're servants. We're serving someone else. Someone is serving us. The reason we have this is because within our microcosm, we are emulating what he does on a macrocosm, what he does universal. So all of these festivals are the celebration of that love, and a I guess affirmation that yes, we want to reunite and participate in such a relationship. I didn't do anything what I had written here. But, because by the time I said what I'm going to say, that's what it is. Let's see if there are any thoughts. So I think this is perhaps at least the context might be more relevant than the specific story itself. Any thoughts? Comments? Make sense? Does it make sense? It doesn't have to make sense. Anything? You want to add something? You something that struck you from what I shared today? You already knew, this got reinforced. You had never heard, and you're like, wow, really? Or no, something doesn't compute. Please. I'm also a student, so please don't think I'm some I know it all guy. No, not at all. I'm curious. Yeah.
Thank you first of all. It refreshed the childhood memories.
Yeah.
So the return of Rama, is it tomorrow? After the Narak Chaturdashi, like, or is it particular day in the Diwali? First day? Is it?
It is the Deepavali, the Amavasya day, the new moon night. Although, technically speaking, Lord Ram did not arrive in the evening or night. He arrived before dawn. The sun hadn't risen yet. That's when he came to this place, Nandigram, to meet Bharata. And so it is on that night, so technically Diwali, Naraka Chaturdashi, that on Diwali night, the whole kingdom was decorated and lit up and celebrated on that day. So he arrived in the morning of Diwali.
That reason we wake up earlier in the sun. Like ourselves before the sun.
But many things happen during Diwali. So there's a series of things. Yeah, one of this is.
Also,
Yes.
one question.
Oh,
So, who, for Ravana, who gave him the Diksha that was it Lord Brahma? Or
yes, Brahma.
or not Lord Shiva?
No. Lord Brahma.
But everywhere, I mean, few of the things that it was shown that Lord he was.
Shiva spared his life. So what happened is part of Ravana's power, when a person has unbridled strength that is unchecked, there is one quality that is very, very anti spiritual upliftment. It is called pride. Pride comes from a sense of identity. I am. Right? And what is our genuine identity? That I am a part of, I am a servant of God. Ravana thought, I am God. And it went to such an extent that he went to Kailash, where Lord Shiva is sitting, with his 20 hands, tried to shake and move and lift that whole mountain. So Parvati is like, whoa, what's going on? Earthquake, are we in California? Lord Shiva said, yeah, certain fault moved in a, and with his big toe, just pressed down on that mountain a little bit. That mountain came crushing so hard on Ravana that he was completely pulverized under it. He couldn't breathe, he choked, his hand got crushed, he was in intense pain. And then he realized that, oh, he's suddenly playing with the boys in the very big league. And then he recited some prayers to Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva said, okay, I'll let you go.
Okay. So Ravana did not like take the what do you call it?
His tapasya was to
Tapasya
get Lord
for-
Brahma.
For Brahma. Okay.
Yes.
So why is the entire month considered to be so auspicious?
So we like to do everything over a long period of time. This is the day. This is the day when Mother Yashoda, transitioning to the story of Krishna, because it was Diwali day, and everyone celebrates, Lord Ram's returning. Mother Yashoda, Krishna's mother, who's Ram coming in his next advent as Krishna. Okay? So she wanted to prepare everything for the festivity. Krishna was too busy stealing butter. And she's been getting a lot of complaints that your son is constantly stealing butter in our house. And she wondered, I have the best butter. I get Irish butter from Costco. Why is he eating Land of Lakes in some house? The best butter here. And so she decided to make butter for him. So it's like, I don't want my son to have a bad name that, he's a common thief. But the reason we celebrate is, if you take milk, the essence of milk is butter. And by the act of churning, you separate whey from butter, or butter from whey. And that butter is the essence of it. So in symbolically, our heart is like the pot of milk, that when it is churned by chanting the names of Krishna or Lord Ramachandra, That butter is the essence, which is the love that we have for Krishna, and we all hope that he comes and steals it from us. As much as they complained to Mother Yashoda, they were always looking for when will he come. So they made the challenge even more difficult each day. So Krishna will want to take that challenge of stealing butter. It was a great joy for them. So by Krishna stealing, they actually became happier. So it's that celebrating that love for an entire month. It's like that. I work in a retail business. Christmas is coming up. In our store, we've already begun playing holiday music. It's all decorated for the holidays. A month ahead. This is anticipating and celebrating.
Just have a thought
Please.
followed up with a question,
Please, please.
getting your perspective. So we speak about materiality, material world, and all that, right? Where do you find balance between ambitions and spirituality? Like where, like, the way I look at it, all the material things is just a byproduct of what you do. That's how I look at it. It's just a byproduct of whatever you do. Right? And it doesn't, whatever work you're doing, it doesn't have to be, because it will get me this.
Right.
This is just my goal. This is what I want to do. But like, how do you balance it? Like, between spirituality and this. I mean, those Teslas have really nice features. So, like, it's good. They're nice to have things, but like, where do you find it?
There was someone who said, "Oh, what are you talking about? All this materialism and money and all that." I know you say happiness is more important, but I'd rather die rich. There's no harm in it. When we talk of balance, generally the picture that comes to our mind is some sort of pan scale. In Hindi, or we say taraju, pan scale. That if I put X units of something here, I need to balance that with something else. So if you look at it, it's not just in equal units. For example, if I have 100 pounds of cotton on one side and 100 pounds of iron on the other side, the volume they take is very different. So our material activities may be 100 pounds worth of cotton, but 100 pounds of spiritual activity is as important to balance it out. So it's not just number of, but volume, but the impact of it. So that's one. Second, because we have this body, there's no denying it. I can't be foolish and say, "Oh, I am not this body." In 20 minutes, when they serve paneer and chocolate there, I'm going to fail that test like anything. I know I'm going to fail it. The point is not that I have to somehow, starve myself. But the important thing is, I take that in the spirit of service. So when I take care of my family, when I take care of my work, when I take care of my Tesla or Corolla or what Camry, whatever it is, when I take care of my house, it is all done in the spirit of the dweller. So Krishna, Lord Ramchandra is the main dweller.
Yes.
You're all caretakers. The soul is the dweller. In the spirit of the dweller, we need to take care of things, but it's in the spirit of service. Without the spirit of service, immediately is the spirit of exploitation or enjoyment. Enjoyment alone, selfishly. There's no rule that we cannot enjoy. We're all singing and dancing, we're going to have excellent dinner. There's enjoyment.
Yes.
But that enjoyment from the perspective of service. The argument is, for example, somebody might say, "Oh, you are chanting Ram's names, Krishna's name, you're happy. I'm smoking a cigarette, I'm happy." We have to be happy. So whether you're happy or both are happy, then what's the problem? The answer is yes, we are happy. True. but the grades of happiness are not the same. The categories are also not the same.
Yes.
No? Because the happiness from a cigarette, for example, is momentary. And because it makes you happy, can you just stand here and smoke 100 cigarettes? No. Because after, for that matter, even gulab jamun. After the 10th gulab jamun or 40th gulab jamun, it creates a distaste that you can't continue with gulab jamun.
Correct.
Anything material has by nature within it that beyond a point, it's law of diminishing marginal returns in economics. On the spirit, it's nothing, it only grows. So it's a very different category of happiness. So we want the joy of service.
Yes.
That's the joy we want. And that joy comes when we are in connection of service. So no harm in having a Tesla. So it's having, if we in the mood of service, in the spirit of service. Yudhishthira Maharaj was the emperor of the world. Don't tell me he was not having the fanciest of chariots and gold, but it was not that made him happy. Happy is not in the thing, it's in the relationship. Yeah.
Thank you.
And philosophy goes only thus far on an empty stomach. Beyond that, it's like it doesn't stick. So I think what we can do is dinner, right, Rasika Manjari? Rasika Manjari, dinner, right?
Yes.
Okay, dinner, and we can chat more informally if you like while we're eating. Is that right? Okay, thank you for being here. I'm very, very grateful and happy to be here with you. And if it's your first time, welcome. If it's your more than the first time, then wonderful that you came back. You're all in Chicago. I'm going to drive back to the best city in the whole of the United States, Cleveland, Ohio. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Jai Krishna.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me over. I didn't do what I had written down. So,
Thank you for
some
being
other
with
day.
us
Oh, yeah.
and making the drive just